Didi Manmohini was a philosophical person who had the most beautiful, elegant hands, which were very expressive. And when she was speaking, she would move her hands to emphasize what she was saying. Didi had the most beautiful eyes, and she was a true yogi. She could sense what was happening in different people and go right to the root of their spirit, their soul. And she would be able to say exactly what a person needed to hear in order for that individual to move forward spiritually and in their relations with people. Didi Manmohini and Dadi Janki were very close friends, and it was very meaningful to me to see how important in the spiritual practice it is to have friendships with people who are at your level, who want to go deep into the spiritual knowledge and practice together. When I would be invited to join Didi Manmohini, Dadi Prakashmani, and some of the other dadis in their dining room for lunch, it would be a very beautiful experience, and they would practice to eat in remembrance, to speak, but yet there would be that silence among them. And that feeling of a heart connection, the love and respect that the dadis had for each other, and the great love they had for the yagya. Sometimes they would go to the area near the Tower of Peace where Dadi Janki lived, the what we call Indraprasth, and they would have fruit together there, and some of us sisters would be invited to join in the fruit after the lunch. And it was a very beautiful time of conversation, enjoying together, being together. And they embodied what spiritual family really is. Didi was not one to stand in front of gatherings and give discourses. She would do that quite rarely, but when she did, it was always very close, very intimate, and she would be speaking to people individually. Even if there were many in the gathering, you would have that feeling. Didi was the controller of Madhuban, which at that time was just Pandabhavan. The other big buildings hadn't happened yet, and so she knew everything. There was a time when she asked me to be her secretary, which was very interesting because at that time I didn't know Hindi, she didn't know English, but she wanted to let me know what were the ways and the systems for being part of the yagya, and she would include me in discussions and meetings. She would ask my opinion and be very interested in what the people from Western countries thought and felt, and how someone who didn't have a background in Hinduism would still relate to the Gita, the Ramayana, the Mahabharata, and to take interest in all of the ways of India. And I stayed quite a long time in Madhuban, in Mount Abu, and lived with these remarkable yogis for quite some time. Didi was always very conscious of the practice of meditation. And so you would see her always connected with God, connected with the founder, Brahma Baba, in her thoughts. And you could see in her eyes and in her smile that she lived on multiple levels. There was the philosophical level of the deep understanding of spiritual knowledge. There was that beautiful love of the Gopi with Gopi Vallabh. And she really had amazing love for God, which was reflected in her eyes and in her smile. Didi used to live in a room that was right on the main courtyard of Madhuban, and from there she would see everything that was going on. And in that way, she made sure that everyone was okay, everyone was doing what they should be doing. She knew who was coming, going. She knew everything. Because she was guiding the yajna. Her leadership was very much from the back. And she was working together with Daddy Prakash Mani. And people would say Didi Daddy or Daddy Didi, as if the two were one. And they really demonstrated how two people can work together, live together, represent the spiritual work, represent the work of God together in perfect harmony. They had a very good understanding of each other, and they really learned, I think, or developed the ability to have one mind, even though there were two bodies. So they were connected, I think we would say telepathically, or sometimes people could say that to be connected in yoga means to be connected in that way. And they had a very, very good connection with Brahma Baba, with Shiv Baba, incorporeal God, and they were able to be really excellent instruments, excellent trustees. So for me, these souls are really the first creation of God. Brahma Baba and Jagat Amba Saraswati, the founders of the yajna, were not alone. They were together with this group of people, which was, I think, originally around 300, and to develop a spiritual family, to create a culture. They decided together, they discussed together each and every little thing, which would be the details of making up a culture, a family, a community that was spiritually based, that understood each other, that recognized each other with all the differences of sanskaras and perception and ways of being, but yet still to be in harmony as well as in simplicity, because at that time there were not so many resources, and India had recently come through the process of independence, the big disturbance involved in the partition, Pakistan, India, West Pakistan, and all of these things. And I came to the gathering about 5 years after Brahma Baba left the body, and everything was now in the hands of the sisters and the main brothers. And Didi was really a very beautiful example of the matriarch, the leadership of the woman, and leadership not being just a single leader, but shared leadership of the elder women who were looking after everything, running everything. And there was purity, there was order, there was ease, fluidity, everything flowed very beautifully. And I think that this foundation of the spiritual community was so powerful, so important, and created the template that the community has to continue and be built upon. So it was really, truly wonderful to be part of that time, those days.